Good morning, good afternoon, or good night, depending when you are watching this episode of Humans in Accounting. Here we are again. This time we have the pleasure to talk with Tom and Jesse of FinOptimal. Um, Tom, Jesse, thank you for joining this time.
Our pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for having us. I'm glad you were able to cover our $10,000 retainer to have us on the show. That's great. You guys are really making it. So
Ten
that's
thousand
great.
dollars each.
Happy to be here for this paid $10,000 appearance. Thank you, Alex.
Yeah, no problem. I'm pretty sure that was all taken care of by your assistant. But then let me know if there's any issue with that. I think that everything went through
Now, I feel like you
perfectly.
paid us in pesos, and since you paid us, the pesos lost a lot of value, so we need to catch up. But all right, well,
Yeah, I also had McDonald's snack wraps on my rider, and I didn't see them delivered on time, but I'm gonna let that slide for this time. You could just
we'll
make it
put
up double next
those
time.
things on your tab. We'll let it go.
Yes.
Just do it.
Language barrier,
Yeah,
time
the
difference, all that.
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. I think it was in pesos. We need to look at the small letter of the agreement, but definitely if it was in pesos. I don't know if you ever now we the government here we have like a new bill that it's of 10,000 Argentinian pesos. That's equivalent I would say $10. So our biggest bill right now
Oh,
it's
we
a
got
10.
ripped, dude. $10. That's all we're getting for this.
uh, you should have looked at that at small letter on the agreement.
Yeah, you're right.
Anyways, Tom, Jesse, seriously, thank you so much for joining. As you know, we started this podcast a few months ago. We recently launched. We have been talking mainly with accounting firms. And our audience is accounting and bookkeeping bookkeepers. And since we have the truth is that you guys are our clients, and we have been working now for some time. And on top of that, I had the pleasure to meet you face to face. When was it? 2 weeks
2 weeks
ago, I
ago,
want to say.
3 weeks,
Maybe.
almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, right. 2 weeks ago, I arrived here back to Buenos Aires after a long flight. And yeah, I'm happy that we were able to meet. You guys even invited me to spend some time on the booth, and I thought it was a good idea just to talk about FinOptimal. And I'm curious, and I want to ask you directly this first question, or maybe you can tell us a little bit about what you guys do. But I want to know exactly how you started. Like how was your first client, and when was that moment when you said, "Hey, I built this for my own accounting firm, and I feel that this is something that other accounting firms can use it." So yeah, I'd like to know a little bit more about that story.
That's a long story. That's like 10 years of history from when we started the accounting firm to when we started releasing SaaS. But I'm going to try to tell it all in a very concise. I'm trying not to go all the way back to the childhood here. In
Okay.
15, I had a bunch of business school. My first client, I was doing this alone as a side hustle. First client was a business school classmate of mine, and I think I charged her $100 a month, and um, didn't really know what I was. I knew QuickBooks very well. I was a CPA, but know much about the bookkeeping business. Um, and I would say it took maybe a year and a half to get from there to a place where we had what I would consider to be our first very serious client, which was a large sports agency that was paying us,
Okay.
thousands of dollars a month. We started around $4,000 a month, and By that point, I had done a lot of integration with the QuickBooks API, which is very, very good. It lets third-party developers do a lot of amazing things, save the user having to be inside QuickBooks to do them, right? So in the
Okay.
case of Excel reports, it was creating lots and lots of invoices from a spreadsheet, reading spreadsheet, creating invoices, right? And this was an enormous speed up for them, and that was our first. This software really makes this offering very, very powerful, right? The software plus the bookkeeping. And I would say now we'll try to skip forward to early 2020s, right? We got a fairly large client base at this point, and in seeking greater growth, we think, hey, maybe we can productize the software we're using so that other accountants can take advantage of it for their clients. Obviously, there's no way we can serve the whole market, right? There's much larger bookkeeping operations that are way ahead of us, Pilot, in Dinero, et cetera, et cetera. We can try to catch up to them. But we've built this software that we really think is useful. Let's try to make a market out of that. And we started selling. We decided to do that in 2020, 2023. The products already existed, right, because we'd been using them internally for many years by that point. But it was then that we decided, okay, we're going to try to package these as SaaS, which has implications when you sell something as a SaaS versus you sell a tech-enabled service. And so we released Accruer in June of 2023, and Booker beginning of 2024, and Wrangler just now in June. So SaaS, our SaaS offerings are very, very new relative to the history of the company, but they like a natural evolution based on of our core competencies.
Okay, and you launched.
I tried to keep it under 45 minutes there. I hope that wasn't much.
Yeah, it was less than 45 minutes, but it was a great explanation, or what I was looking for. But I still have one question. What it was good, Tom. It was good.
Let's do it again and let
But
Tom
still,
tell it from the beginning, including the parts that he wasn't there for.
Yeah, I'll tell it. So I grew up in a middle class family, and no, I'm just kidding. Go ahead. It was great. You did a
Tommy
great
used to
job.
work on the docks. Oh, that was Johnny. Damn it. It would have been so good if it was Tommy used to work on the dock. Anyway, sorry for the interruption.
Jesse, but when you launched you launched it like with 0 clients, or before that you talked with an accounting firm, or with a friend, or with someone, and you told them, hey, look, this is what I built, that I'm using this for myself. Do you want to try it? I want to know that very
sure.
first.
That's
Can
a
I
good
talk
that's a
about
good
that?
clarifying question. I think Tom, did you want to jump in there, or do you want me to?
I did. My internet's as bad as certain softwares when you don't use hours with it, so it's not as good as it can be.
And you're really blurry.
But am I?
No, but I'm gonna say this now. Don't worry, the quality is gonna be great.
The quality on the monitor is worse than the quality of the recording.
Because then somehow this is gonna be.
Yeah, I think it's blurry because I think Jesse's been drinking on the job again.
I think your
but
camera's blurring
that's fine.
you because of the depth perception. But regardless, okay. I mean, you weren't really there for this part of the genesis of the firm, Tom. But let's see what you come up with.
I think Alex was talking about the launch of software products, the transition from not being to launching the software. How did you decide to launch the software? Was that what you were asking, Alex?
I was asking that, and I wanted to know, but it was great, the explanation. Hold on. It was great, the explanation, Jesse, you did. But still, I'm interested in the moment, like, which one was your first client? You launched FinOptimal, and you put a website, and you said, this is what we do, and someone randomly got there and said, hey, I want to try it, do
question.
a demo, and then they bought it.
See, Tom, I think he was indeed talking about the first bookkeeping client. This is roughly 2014. Remember, I've been a controller. I was a controller and then a CFO at LimeWire right? I already have very deep accounting experience. I'm a licensed CPA, although I've never really done audit or prepared a tax return. But I know what I'm doing. And, at the beginning, I started it with the mindset of, I had a full-time job. I had a full-time job until 2021. Right? At that point, we had $1 million of revenue. When you don't have pressure to make your living, you can kind of build for fun and sort of just evolve towards your natural strength. But I knew at the time, what I'm doing in my day job is automating monthly close, accounts payable functions, expense management and reimbursement, closing journal entries, reporting, budget versus actuals. These are all functions that for somebody like me who's a self-taught programmer and really gets a kick out of streamlining and automating, it made my job very, very fun, my day job very, very fun. And it also meant that my job, as I got better at it, became smaller and smaller in terms of its time footprint. Right? What I didn't have in my day job was access to QuickBooks. We didn't use QuickBooks there, but I knew that QuickBooks was still a company to use as a general ledger. So I took some clients from business school. I just said, hey, this person's starting a business. They need bookkeeping. $100 a month is a great fee. Maybe it was $100 a quarter. I don't know. I got to go back and ask her. But like, hey, I'll do your bookkeeping, whatever that means. You ask for whatever you want. I'll deliver it. If she wanted reporting, she wanted. So at the beginning, it was figuring out what bookkeeping clients want. What's the cadence of interaction with them, right? What reporting do they need? What does their tax preparer need? If applicable, what does their auditor ask for? So the first year or two was just getting my sea legs and looking for places to automate. And then once I started to see, wow, these workflows take a lot of time, these are the things that I can automate. I could take examples from what I built at DE Shaw and at LimeWire and apply them in a QuickBooks environment. So that's really, it evolved as a side hustle, as a project for fun. And I guess my school colleagues were happy to get some bookkeeping, and then they made introductions, and other people made introductions,
Right.
and one thing led to another.
Right. Okay. That's exciting. That's great. Usually, now that I'm thinking, like that's somehow how at the beginning, like all companies, they start unless they raise a lot of money and they have like plans. But you usually through referrals. In the same case that happened to us here in South offices, we started with basically just with Michael Lee working. Well, he was happy with us, and he referenced other companies, and now we are working with with more accounting firms. Great. I wanted to ask you, since we met.
You mentioned how you got your next clients. The way that you found us is the way that we found our first, I don't know, what would you say, 50 SaaS customers, which is sitting at lunch tables at conferences and meeting people and getting their contact info and following up afterwards. I met Nicolas at QuickBooks Connect a year ago, and he told me about Michael Lee, and we followed up afterward. That's how we got our first few accruer customers, because we didn't have booths. It's sort of guerrilla conference attending. It was great.
Right. Well, I know exactly what you mean, because I was there doing exactly the same 3 weeks ago. But on top of that, we didn't pay for a booth, but we have this really cool client that lent us for some time the booth. So
yeah, that was fun.
We also had the
you
experience.
paid us handsomely in those. What are those chocolates called? Those things are delicious.
Alfajores. That's like the
Alfajores.
really Spanish way to say it. That there's no translation, but alfajores with with an English accent. Which one did you guys prefer? The one with the white chocolate, or the one with the black chocolate?
I like to. I go both ways.
Both
Pause.
ways. Pause. uh, all right, and talking about Intuit, tell me. Obviously, this was the first time you had a booth. Tell me about the experience. How was it? What was it? What was it? Good. I saw you guys, all the team. Whenever I walked past, you were talking with many people, doing Tom a lot of demonstrations. How was it? How was the experience?
I'm gonna let you take that one, Tom.
It was good.
It was good.
You want me to take it? It was good. It was our first time doing Intuit Connect. We did sponsor Scaling New Heights in the summer. They're very different shows. QuickBooks Connect is just, it's so, the booths are so nice. Like the way they have those turnkey booths, it's so nice. I think it's also, more of our target demographic, right? Like everyone there is on QuickBooks and we primarily work on QuickBooks. So I think it was a good show. I mean, there was no water slide for Jesse and I to go on the water slide together like we did at Scaling New Heights. So, I'm trying to like keep track of how it was. Yeah, Jesse and I didn't get to go on in tubes together. So that does take it down a couple notches and how I'm thinking about it. But no, Intuit Connect is great. Definitely we'll do it again next year. It's a good show.
Okay. And what about Scaling New Heights? Are you guys doing Scaling New Heights next year? I was also in Scaling New Heights. We didn't meet there, but yeah, I was also there. Are you also planning to do Scaling New Heights?
I mean, yeah, just for the water slide alone, we have to go back. So we're definitely doing it. No, we are definitely doing Scaling New Heights again. I think that's also a really good show. I think they bring out really good people there. I think what I really love about Scaling New Heights is they make sure that as a sponsor, you're getting dedicated time where folks are coming to talk to you, right? That is a key difference between Intuit Connect and Scaling New Heights. Scaling New Heights, they have sessions and then they have the trade show floor times, right? And there's nothing competing. So as a vendor or as a presenter, you're very on for an hour and a half, 2 or 3 times a day, but then you get breaks. But
Right.
there's going to be a rush of people and there's nothing competing with your opportunity to talk to them. Whereas Intuit Connect, they're like, yeah, just stand there all day and just people might come, they might not. And I think, I don't think that Intuit Connect makes an effort to force people or to encourage people to go to the trade show floor, which is probably good in some capacity because the people who are going to the trade show floor are intentional about going to the floor. But I do think that there are lots of people that never even walked past our booth, maybe didn't even go to the trade show floor at all throughout the entire conference. So just as a sponsor, it's something to consider, um, and also
Yeah.
no water slide in Vegas. So
No water slide,
But backpack.
that's true. We should take the waterproof backpacks from Intuit Connect on the water slide at Scaling New Heights, put them to the test. I like
But
that.
what did I miss in Scaling New Heights? You're talking about like you went to a specific to Disney or to
The
or in
hotel,
the
the hotel
hotel.
in
Oh,
Miami.
nice. So now we're getting
The first
we're
year
getting
they
to the
did
good
it
stuff.
the first year they did it in, or the first year we went, they did it in St. Louis. And last year, or this year, I suppose, and next year they're doing it um, um, in Orlando.
Orlando.
I forget which hotel, but it's a
Right.
hotel that got an on-site water park, and
Yeah.
we had a little free time, and we
So
went.
they got a
Oh,
lazy
okay.
river.
They had a lazy river and a sick water slide. I mean, a water slide that just
Yeah.
drops 50 feet. It's very, very. So Tom and I, right when it started raining, that was when our only break was, and we're like, let's go check out the slide.
Yeah.
Wound up having to get in this tiny
Obviously.
tube with me basically straddling him from behind and going down
Pause.
this very
Pause.
anyway. Yeah, you get the.
It was great.
Uh,
Because especially compared to when we were in
Now that
St.
we're talking about it, is that we went up there again, and there was a kid who was all alone. Like his sister
You're
chickened
really
out
gonna
of
do
going
this?
down the slide, and so they're like, "Sir, would you please go with this kid so that he can go down this slide?" And Tom, I was like, "Tom, you're gonna have to go by yourself." Like he got, I don't know, what did you just wait for me? I had to go down this slide with this kid, and it was scary. It was in the dark, and the slide went backwards, and I was screaming. And by the time we came out, the kid turned around. And he's like, "Are you okay?" Anyway,
So good.
I digress.
Yeah, it was. But just to one more point, like, you know, I think the water slide, because when in St. I'm so glad we're on the water slide still. The water slide in Orlando was great because in St. Louis there was no water slide, so we had to do it in the bath, and that was just not. That just wasn't working.
And the the I had
For God's sake,
I
bring it back home. Bring it home.
I had you know, whenever I go to events in the US, I try to take advantage. As you know, I'm in Buenos Aires in Argentina. I try to take advantage. It's kind of a long flight. So when I went to Scaling New Heights, I was first in Miami for this event, TaxCon. I think it was in Miami
Nice.
Beach, more or less. After TaxCon, I went to Orlando, and in Orlando, I had like 3 different events. Two of them were, I think, on the very same place where it was Scaling New Heights, or I might be lying. It was somewhere else. Like 3 different locations in Orlando. So what I did before booking my flight, I thought it was a good idea just to go and get a like a cool Airbnb like right in the middle of the 3 places. Um, it was not the best idea ever
Interesting.
because I missed the slide that you were mentioning, and so that was my point.
I think there's one other piece of the conferences, to actually be serious again. Sorry, the water slide is just so funny. The comparing the 2 conferences, right? So Scaling New Heights, you cannot do off-site events without paying a fee to the sponsor. Okay, so you have to be a certain distance away from the conference if you want to throw a happy hour, or if you want to do a private dinner, or anything that's sponsored by your company, or if you want to do it on site, you have to pay an additional fee, like a sponsorship fee. So what I've felt happens at Scaling New Heights, which I really like, is people actually just congregate at 1 or 2 hotel bars. So you get an opportunity to mingle with most folks at the conference who are looking to have drinks and mingle in a single space every night. So it's a really nice way to kind of have like a mixer, or like a little happy hour vibe, where you can see the people you want to see. The Zoom graphics really celebrating drinking. The At QuickBooks Connect, though, you might realize, like, a lot of people do these like off-site things. Like, I know Anchor didn't sponsor the event, but they instead did events in and around the conference. So at
Right.
Intuit Connect at night, you kind of got to be like, well, whose party can I go to? Right? It's like you're in high school and you're trying to go to the cool kid party at night, which is
I hope
nice, right?
Intuit didn't
But
pull Anchor's developer key for that.
chill. Don't get my boys at Anchor in trouble. But yeah, I think that's also something to consider, just both as an attendee, right, and as a sponsor. Like, to me, the nightlife is important because that's where you're going to get a chance to kind of meet people where they're letting their guard down, right, and they're being a little bit more casual in who they are, and it gives you an opportunity to express who you are. Especially as a small company, they get to know your culture, right, and who they're interacting with. So
Right.
I think Scaling New Heights gives you a better opportunity to run into the people you want to run into. Whereas Intuit Connect, you kind of got to be like that creepy guy who's like, wait, where's the girl going? What, that girl that I have a crush on? What party is she going to? I got to make sure I go to that one. You know,
But
in this
but
case, crushes
I
being accounting firms.
I didn't know that. So you're telling me that in Intuit, for instance, you cannot organize. I don't know. Say, hey, let's meet in this bar that it's
No, you
in
can do
front
that.
of
You
the.
can do that at Intuit. You can't do it at Scaling New Heights.
You
Yeah.
cannot do it in
Yeah.
Scaling New Heights.
You do it. It needs to
If
be
you
a
are a sponsor,
business
you can't do it.
hotel.
Yeah.
They don't want it to
Why
draw.
can't you do it? Uh, like it's a free country. You can,
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
a free country.
you can go.
Then they won't invite
Hell
you. Like,
yeah,
if
Alex.
you want to sponsor a booth, they won't. They won't. You won't be able to sponsor it. There's just different. There's sort of different ground rules for different conferences, right? Like at Intuit, for example. I'm definitely not going to name names here, but one of I don't know if they're a direct competitor, but one of our competitors was their CEO was ejected from the conference because they put some stuff
Oh, here comes Gossip Jesse.
materials in the bathroom, right? And that was that did not go over well, right? And Intuit's got their rules, and you better not. I don't know. You remember some of the other rules, and none of them are unreasonable. But at the Woodard conferences, there's
Well,
different rules. One of those rules is you can't organize a happy hour on the premises without that constitutes a gathering, and other people are paying us to organize gatherings, and for us, and we don't want you competing with them and hurting the value that they're getting for sponsoring those parties. So, if you do that, we're going to show up.
Okay,
And
I
okay.
also, yeah, I want to clarify though. That's only if you're a sponsor, Alex. So like if you're a sponsor at Scaling New Heights, as part of your sponsor agreement, you sign a piece of paper that says like I won't do it. But I love it's a free country, and I'm gonna bring. I forgot we used to just say that, so I'm about to just start doing that. Just gonna say it's a free country.
No, man. Well,
even if you're a participant, you do it this year, and you're like, I'm not a sponsor, I'm just a participant. That's great. Next year, you're not going to get admitted to the conference. Just don't piss people
When
off.
Jesse asks me why I haven't logged on yet on Wednesday of next week, and he says you haven't worked all week, I'm gonna go, yeah, dude, it's a free country.
It's a free country.
No, okay, I understand. I understand the point, but it was okay. I guess it makes sense, but there's like a specific like amount of yards, about of
Yeah,
miles.
I feel
Maybe
like it's
if you
close
do it in
to
Miami,
20.
it's all good. All right, all right.
yeah, it's miles
Um,
because
I mean,
we
I think
do it
Tom's
that way.
point is
But
well taken. Though, I mean, Tom, I feel like we did 2 conferences, Guerrilla style. I think that we could probably put together a playbook. Maybe some of the other ones that we're not sure we want to sponsor yet will wind up doing it this way. I think there's definitely some rules. And there's some smart ways to do it. In my case, like I found the meals to be a very productive time to meet people, and it's in
right.
part because people are getting down, sitting down, and getting up constantly from tables. It's very so. I would go get a small plate of food, sit down, try to meet as many people as I can. If they're like not interested in talking to me or not interested in the product, I get up, I go get a little more salad, go sit down at another table, right? Go sit down. So the meal times in a conference that you're not sponsoring, I think are really a good time to try to meet people. Um, and I think
we should
Tom
make a
also
guide on that.
what?
We should make a guide on that and post
No,
that.
I'm
That's good
telling you, we have
content.
a playbook. We just don't know it. Lots of people want to go to conference. Like, you don't start by shelling out 20 grand to to
Yeah.
sponsor a booth. We got accruer customers without sponsoring a booth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also breakfast that worked good for me. But it's the same.
Also, the gym. Go to the gym in the
The
morning.
gym.
Right? Your
Oh, okay.
customers and prospective customers are seeing you. You want to go in there, subtly just go like, oh man, what a workout, and intimidate them with your giant muscles, and then
Yeah, this is the Jesse's gym playbook is this. So you drink with the people the night before, you meet all of them, then you misremember their names. You see them at the gym, you call them the wrong name. And then the next night when you see them at the bar, you have an opener, which is, hey man, sorry I called you the wrong name at the gym this morning. Gold.
that did actually happen. That happened at Scaling New Heights this year. More often, like usually I say the wrong name only when I have like a 70% confidence that it's the right name. Usually I'll see
Yep.
someone at the gym and then I'll slack my whole team furiously, being like, what's that guy who came up to the booth and he was wearing this and he was really kind of this or that? And then they're like, oh yeah, that was Miguel. Okay, great. Yeah, I saw Miguel. And they're like, great. Now what? Then when I see him later, I'd say, hey, Miguel, great to see you. It's a process. It's an art more than a science.
It It is. We can definitely write. Now I want to jump on board with that idea, Tom, about writing a book of things you can do, just do ideas, because
Yeah,
we
Call it
have
conference con. The conference
I like that.
con playbook.
How to con your way into a conference con.
On your way through like the conference
uh,
yeah. Somebody stop me.
no, I'm sorry.
The
So
internet cut out on purpose. That was God telling you to just stop the bit.
Great. Going back, I want to know a little bit more about FinOptimal. I know about FinOptimal, but let's talk. You work, obviously your clients are only, you work only with accounting firms, or you work with only with accounting firms, correct?
No. Anyone who uses QuickBooks Online, whether it's an accounting firm or a small and medium sized business, like our business started, you have to remember, Alex, as an accounting firm,
Right.
right? So all those clients that Jesse was talking about earlier were small and medium sized businesses who accounting firms traditionally do the books for, right? So we still have that side of our business, which we call like our managed accounting, right? It's
Hmm.
very similar to what other folks might call like a CAS practice.
Right.
We started selling our software. We started selling to both those people directly, again, just software, and also to accounting firms. So we had to learn, although it's the same product, right? How do you talk to an accounting firm now? For the first time, we had to think about how do you communicate with other accounting firms? They shifted from peers or competitors, depending on who you ask, right, to customers, right? And it's a very different shift in the way that you talk about those things. So today, the overwhelming majority of our users for our software products are accounting firms because they naturally come with a one to many relationship, right? One accounting firm has many clients who are on QuickBooks Online, but we still do sell our software and provide accounting services directly to small and medium sized businesses.
Okay.
Our gate is
uh,
really you have to be on QuickBooks Online.
QuickBooks Online, which I would say 92% of the people are in QuickBooks. Oh, I meaning compare the QuickBooks Online with the QuickBooks. What's the name
Zero.
of the other one that it's? No. QuickBooks
Desktop.
like
Desktop.
desktop, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
we don't do that.
QuickBooks, right? But it's a small percentage that of people using QuickBooks desktop at the moment, right?
Yeah, small shrink,
I think
eventually
it's
gone. Like it's overwhelming. They're eventually quit
Right.
into stop supporting them.
Okay. And one question there about the ideal client. We in South offices, we have a few clients that are like solopreneurs, that are like bookkeepers that at some point they're at that point where they don't know if they can handle like hiring getting another client, because they don't
yep.
have availability, but at the same point they don't know if they want to hire someone directly, like these like bookkeepers, solopreneurs. Obviously they could also work with FinOptimal, right, as long as they're in QuickBooks Online.
Absolutely. I think our ideal customer on the software side is certainly someone who understands the value of saving their own time, right? Like folks sometimes might look at what, oh, that's only taking me an hour and a half a month. Why should I automate it, right? Well, one, because the price point makes sense and it's a fraction of what your time actually costs, but you can stack that time. Those hour and a half savings, they compound, right? And they compound, and then you can reinvest that in being better in other places. So I think the ideal customer understands that philosophically. But then when I look at, the size of the relationship or the size of the firm that we might have, I kind of find the early end of the spectrum, a solopreneur, and then the
Mhm.
total opposite end of the spectrum, a large firm who says, I've got a person here that's meant to do innovation. I've got a person here who drives decision on being more efficient. Those two ends of the spectrum actually are our best customers. And the reason is, in both cases, there is a decision maker who is saying, we are doing it better we are obsessed with it being better, and I'm not taking no for an answer. Right. The middle ground, I think, is where it gets muddy. A lot of times it's decision by committee, and there's 5 managers of accounting, and they sit around in a round table once a quarter, and no one wants to make a decision. And that middle-sized firm who has outgrown a single decision maker or has decided to not have that, I think sometimes can't move as fast and doesn't enjoy the benefits of the swift decision making the others make. But solopreneurs are like, I know exactly what to do. I just don't have the manpower to do it myself. But if I can set up a system that's going to mimic exactly what I need to do, and then I can hire a person to just run my system, right? I don't need to train them on everything manually. I've built it for them. Those people have so much success on our platform.
I recorded this week another podcast. Then I'll do an introduction. But she said exactly what you're saying, Tom. Well, she sees the value. I think that many people will see the value of automating things, despite the fact that it's, as you said, I don't know, an hour a week. It's
Yep.
an hour that you could be doing something else. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
I mean, you could do whatever you want with that hour. Like Jesse, like I said, Jesse drinks on the job because he has all that time back, and he gets on podcasts and is drunk. But like, you can do other stuff too. So you can definitely use that time however you
I'd
want.
rather be drunk than blurry, Tom.
I'm not blurry. You're just drunk.
He said it.
Am I really blurry this whole time?
Blurry on the final thing.
It's the last time I used this camera.
But I don't know if it's the camera. But hold on, when we release this, it's gonna work perfectly. Don't
I can't even pay my lighting bills.
Two more questions I have, and let's wrap up.
Okay.
I wanna just do again. I'm always talking about FinOptimal, not about the FinOptimal, the software company. I want to know, since the moment that you launched the first SaaS product until now, like which things that you can think of, like what was like a big achievement or milestone that you can think of right now. Maybe something you thought it was never gonna happen and it happened, or maybe for any other reason, or what's your answer to this question? If you have one, a milestone, an achievement.
I have so many. It's hard.
I'm asking only for one.
And I can't say water slide.
Water slide? No, you cannot say water slide.
I don't know. I think maybe it's not. This is a culmination of moments, but I think when we finally redid our landing page and we put out that reviews section with a load more button, the fact that we were able to have a testimonial section that you can click load more like 7 times, and you just keep seeing more and more and more reviews from real people being like, this is legit, it's the best. Like, that to me is the culmination of like, this is legit. Like, we've got 30, 40, I don't even know how many people being like, I'm going to put my name on it and I'm going to stand on business. Like, this is legit. That to me is the shining moment. Since I can't say water slide.
That's a great answer. And actually, is it okay if we steal this idea from you guys? Because I also saw it and I thought it was really good. When did you did this? The references. When was it?
Of course, you can steal it. I stole it from somebody else. All good ideas are just stolen and remixed. When did I? We probably launched it in the summer. I would say July. We put it up. We were building the testimonial bank for a while, but then we were like putting up 3 at a time. You're like, well, which one should we put up? Who should we take down? And then we were like, wait, we have like so many people that would give us a testimonial. And I just basically told my team, I was like, I want minimum 20, like, to go up when we put this live, and we definitely beat that number. So But I mean, you don't just get a testimonial, right? Like we knew these people liked us because we checked in so frequently. Like I think we have such a good bedside manner in terms of making sure that people feel heard, feel supported, that they can trust us, right? We go above and beyond. Jesse and I will help somebody no matter the time. Jesse and I've got up in the middle of the night to help a customer, even after I know over all the drinking talk. Like we've been out and then had to come home and be like, we're on the phone until 2 a.m. fixing something. That is why you can put that out, right? You don't just snap your fingers and get 30 testimonials on your site the next day.
I think customers do appreciate it. They do. They appreciate when they call out a feature that obviously should be there and isn't, because we haven't prioritized it. Sometimes thought of it and haven't done it, and the customer says, "I need this." Mom says to me, "Jesse, we need this." I agree, and we just build it. We just build it today and write them back today and be like, "All right, it's live." I think
And you make them feel like you're a part of it because you go, hey, this is now there because of you. Thank you. Everyone else is going to have a better experience because of you. And they feel like they are a part of making something better. They're more forgiving when you make mistakes, right? But they're also just, they feel like they're a part of it. And that's how I feel with certain apps that I use. When they listen to my feedback and they're like, yeah, that's a feature for everyone now that you asked for. Like, that's awesome. I want to keep working with you because you want to make it better.
Right. And what happens? What happens on that note? What happens when someone asks something that it's really, really specific that you guys know that this is going to be something only for them, and unfortunately, I don't know if this happens or not. That unfortunately, it's not something that all our clients will use because they're asking something really specific.
That's a great question. I think in the beginning we fell victim to just doing it anyway. Jesse has a great analogy, don't let the tail wag the dog. And I think sometimes early on when you have 20 users and one is asking for it, you're like, well, 5% of our users really need this. That's a big number. We should do it. And if we extrapolate it and we grow as fast as more people are going to need it, we build the feature and we go, yeah, literally no one's using that. And that customer didn't even end up expanding. Like that was stupid. So I think over time you get enough information, you get enough requests that you already know the requests that are going to come because it's not the first time you've heard it. But I also think releasing other products, especially Booker, has allowed us to answer the no in a not with Accruer, but you can with Booker, right? Which is a really nice catch-all. Like we've effectively laid a net down where if somebody comes through the Accruer hoop and can't go in the basket, we can just catch them somewhere else. But I also think when somebody asks you a question, can it do this? You shouldn't just say sorry, no. You should say, well, what are you trying to do, right? Because they sent you a rushed 3-sentence email on the fly of their requesting a specific feature, but you have to take a step back and go, what are you trying to even accomplish here, right? And then if you understand what you're trying to accomplish, you might be able to get them to the answer in a way that they never thought could even be possible. So that's the other way you go about it. But sometimes people have asked me things and I'm like, that's not even an app. Like, what are you talking about? So yeah, sometimes you get stuff you just got to say no.
Yeah, it's important to say no. That's something that always happens, and you get it to understand it. This is going to be a feature that will help everyone, or it's a feature that it will help only one client, or if it's going to help them because they're asking for something that it's not what they actually need. But that's always the challenge. And last one. I want to ask you this when I always finish this podcast, and I want to ask you individually.
go first because I have a hard stop that I'm already past.
Okay. Let's. What it could be a good advice that you could give other entrepreneurs or yourself um, for people that are starting their own accounting firm or their own company.
I would say don't let naysayers get into your head. Just do it. I think starting a business is kind of like starting a career. You know, at the beginning of your career, people tell you to live within your means, but you're never living within your means at the beginning of your career. You're always in the hole. When you start a business, you're always in the hole until you figure out how to do it, and then you do it. and somebody else says, I don't, that sound like a good business, start it anyway. And I apologize. I'm going to have to hop. I'm going to let Tom answer. It was really a pleasure to be here, and I can't wait to see the final product. Thanks, Alex. We'll see you soon at the conference.
See ya.
We'll sit
Bye,
together
Jesse.
at lunch a few times at the same meal. Looking forward.
Tom, what about you?
Now we can really have fun, Alex. No, I'm just kidding. It's a great question. I think there's this weird balance when you're starting something of you don't want to let perfect be the enemy of good, right? So I think sometimes people will obsess and be like, well, I just need to do these few more things and then I can finally release this. Then I can finally launch this, which I think is a mistake. I think you need to ship something and need to quickly iterate on it. Like put it in the public eye, let it get ripped apart if it has to be, and iterate on it, but also protect yourself by not trying to do too many things at once, right? Like sometimes I'll see people launch a website and it's like so many different pages and the pages are like all like ugly and not formatted well. And it doesn't like, you don't have to have a perfect website to launch it, right? But maybe you just have something very, very simple, right? Or if you can't do that, just don't even have a website and ship it without a website, right? But I don't know. There's a balance of not letting perfect be the enemy of good, but then like starting small and making what you've started in a very small capacity good, and then scaling from there, rather than doing a lot of things in a kind of mediocre way, right? So I don't know. I guess balancing the MVP versus having too many different MVPs. I have no idea if that makes sense, but
No,
that's
it
what I would
does.
say.
It does make sense. It does make a lot of sense actually, and it would have been great if you had told me that maybe 15 years ago, because that's something that took me some time to learn. But I completely agree.
Love it.
Thank you for that answer.
For sure, man.
Well, it was really nice having. Well, Jesse had to drop, but Tom, it was great. It was great having you. Everyone, if you guys are interested in learning more about FinOptimal, feel free to reach out to Tom or to Jesse or at their website finoptimal.com. And yeah, let's wrap up. Tom, it was
Love it.
really nice talking, and thank you for joining.
Thank you for having us.
Take care.
Peace.